Live from inside Porsche, Colorado Springs, it's the First Dibs podcast with our hosts, John Deisty and Justin Underwood. Buckle up and let's go for a ride.
It's the season again.
It is. It's the season. We are 4 minutes behind schedule.
That's not bad.
No, it's pretty good.
Considering we had people here.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. We'll stay late any day of the week. But we already stay late on Friday. So if you're here, we're going to kick you out next time. You just get out. Sorry, we'll be here tomorrow. Nothing's going to happen tonight anyway. We have a podcast to get to. Welcome back. To Chris and Marty from the Shift Colorado magazine.
Yes.
Brendan and Jake are also here. We have them in our green room. Because we're running late, I didn't have time to set up a camera in there. I thought it'd be fun to spy on them a little bit, but we're not doing that.
Yep.
So before we get to stuff, there's been this thing going around on the internet, on all over my Instagram, Jepson's Malort.
Right.
And Chris and I were talking about this. I don't know if it was on one of the last shows or
I think it was before.
you guys have your microphones backwards. Can you trade then? Chris doesn't have to lean quite as far forward. There you go. That now we got it.
Chords are a difficult.
All right, there we go. That it was probably my fault, but
Yeah, no, yeah, I think Jepson's Malort is something we were talking about before the last year.
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
talked about
So
it.
it's this delightful Chicago concoction where you're supposed to say Jepson's Malort and then do a shot.
Yep.
And then say I'll have another.
Exactly.
And then hilarity ensues.
Yes, because it, contrary to
Because it's
description,
delightful.
it's delightful, but it also tastes like it
Yeah.
belongs in a car.
All right, so I'm going to pour 3 of them, and we're going to do this live on tape, on air. So for those of you that aren't listening, somebody else start talking about stuff so we can keep it interesting for the listeners.
That would.
I mean, do we introduce ourselves?
Yeah,
or-
let's start there. I'm Justin.
Yeah.
And who do we have?
I am Chris, and then we are also joined by.
Yeah, I'm Marty, just another co-editor at Shift Colorado.
Just another co-editor.
Just another co-editor.
No big deal.
Yeah. And you guys have been with us on the show before.
Yep.
So welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having us again.
Obviously, we'll get into it, but I got to join you guys on a roller shoot.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. I'd taken the Macon Electric because that's one of the articles that someone might mention.
Yeah.
But anyway, the whole behind the scenes thing was pretty cool because I've heard you guys describe it. I've seen some photos, but actually I was riding with Brendan. He was driving his car with guys hanging out the back. And I definitely told someone, wow, you guys are very organized. And I think, Marty, you had said, actually, this is probably one of the largest cluster Fs, we've had.
I don't know if I said that, but...
but anyway, I thought it's the safety, is obviously kind of number one that's there, but extremely organized. I was really, really impressed by that. But,
Yeah, I think
Jepson's Malort.
Jepson's Malort. Yeah, let's start with that. Jepson's Malort.
Jepson's Malort.
I'll have another.
I'll definitely have another. Got a little bit on my face there.
I will honestly have another.
Now, John, what do you think? You're making the most of a Malort face
I'm
right now.
just trying to place it.
And there's a lot to process because you'll notice, as the as it kind of works its way through your taste buds, there's different layers.
It's
of
definitely
Malort.
medicinal.
It is medicinal. That's how it survived Prohibition.
Yep.
But yeah, honestly, my tasting notes are grapefruit rind.
Yeah,
that's been
bitter
out for a couple
orange.
days.
Oh my God, bang on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's grapefruit rind that's been in the sun for too long.
See, I had a feeling that I wasn't going to be too off-put by this because I am a fan of gin, and some gins can get kind of funky.
Gin
Yeah.
gin is a funky one
Yeah.
sometimes. But yeah, it has a quality to it.
Yeah, it's definitely quality.
Thank you for sharing.
Well, hey, there you go.
I'll
All
have
right.
another.
I have day 1 of my 12 days of hot sauce. Right?
you
You want to do one of those?
Yeah.
Live on air?
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
here you
do
go.
it.
Hot sauce.
It's actually quite good. What is this one called? It's called.
This is like hot ones.
Yeah, it's Cascabella hot sauce.
Okay,
Anyway, it just poured. Oh, that's pretty good
that's enough.
All right.
for hot sauce.
Oh, who's drinking the hot
Everybody.
sauce? Oh,
Yeah, I mean, there's enough to go around. I'm
Okay.
not gonna use it.
Yeah.
I already poured this on the dinner that Brendan was kind enough to bring down.
myriad of beverages.
I know this. Who knew this was what was going to happen?
It's a really weird chaser, but
Who needs to talk about cars when you have Malort and hot sauce?
Yeah, right.
This might be a new thing.
Yeah, it could be.
We'll have to do this every show.
shots
is
of hot
Somebody
sauce.
bring hot sauce. Somebody bring a funky booze.
I'll bring
do it.
some like
Well, I
Ouzo
got
or
12
something
shows
next
worth,
time.
so
Yep. There you go. Okay. So what do we say here? Casa Bonita.
Casa Bonita.
Casa Bonita.
I'll have another.
Casa Bonita. Do the shot, and then I'll have another.
Okay.
Okay.
Casa Bonita.
Ooh,
Casa
that's-
Bonita.
Casa Bonita. I'll have another.
That,
I'll
that's,
have another.
I'll have another.
Yeah.
I'll have another.
Habanero. It's got a little Tabasco to it.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit of mango, maybe.
But I don't know if the 12 days, I don't know, like if this is the weakest
It's the same one. Oh, does it get hotter?
I don't
That'd
know.
Be
I'm
cool.
also just I'm questioning if the hot sauce complements the Malort aftertaste because they're kind of mixing together in my mouth still.
It's
and
not.
It's not.
It's not any worse.
It's not a. It's not a time I'm having fun with, but we're getting through it.
All right. So, let me bring up
It's a little business.
Oh, business. Yeah,
Did we get anything?
we got a 2019
I have to sneeze, but I don't.
Mercedes GLC 63.
Oh, that's a nice car.
Big roaring V8.
Yeah. It chirps the tires when you put it in drive.
Like just at idle.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that
All
was
four.
Yeah.
It's a
was
very
a
angry
joke at first,
Mercedes.
Yeah, no, you can feel it.
Just a quick little boop.
No, that's a really nice car. We had a trade show up before the new car was delivered. It's a what am I thinking of? It's a Heritage Targa.
Targa?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Heritage Targa 4S, but it's black. It's not the cherry metallic. And it has the, how do you pronounce the interior? Atacama.
Atacama beige.
Atacama beige with the corduroy. Heritage interior. It's cool. It's
Nice
really
car.
neat.
Yeah.
And the tricky part is because we also got, I think we've already mentioned it, we got the
50th
50-year
annivers-
Porsche design.
Yeah.
So they're actually really similar because of their look. Just walking around, I keep getting, I just walk in the lot, I get the two confused, but
Numbered Targas. 750 of one, 992 of the other.
right. 750 of the 50-year Porsche design.
Yep.
But yeah, so anyway, so that car showed up, which is pretty cool. The AMG. What else? Anything?
2 blue cars coming in next week. Turbo S and a Spider.
Oh, that's right.
Those will be here.
That's early first dibs.
Yeah, extra first dibs. All right, that's enough of us.
Oh, what was first dibs going to be presenting this year?
The 356 Club.
Oh, yes, we decided. So we've talked about this a couple times, but the 356 Registry West Coast Holiday is happening in Colorado Springs for 2025.
And we've been given naming rights.
Yeah. So there was a meeting here yesterday with some registry members and then a local guy. And I was supposed to be part of this meeting, but I could not make it. I had some stuff that I needed to take care of personally. So Randy was kind enough to take some notes. He took about 2.5 pages of small print notes, right, from this meeting that we have to go over tomorrow to see. And so anyway, talking about it today, John decided I think it should be First Dibs Presents 356 Registry Porsche Colorado Springs Holiday 2025, brought to you by Gran Turismo.
wow.
It's pretty good, right?
Right.
They're brought to you by Gran Turismo.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure we can get everybody on board.
I think so.
That's going to be one hellacious sticker.
Give me a chonky one.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough business for now.
Real quick, Justin was looking for a Christmas present for his son, something WRX related.
Yeah, and this is totally okay to talk about because he doesn't want.
No, nobody listens to us. So it's okay. This is, if you want to know what you're getting for Christmas, listen to the show, but you don't. So what I found was a bumper sticker that said asterisk closed course professional driver or something.
Professional driver
or
on a
closed
closed
course. Yeah. I thought that was kind of a good bumper
That's
sticker.
pretty expensive.
I like that.
Any other thoughts on a car related Christmas present for somebody?
I mean, I think that could seamlessly transition us into one of our magazine pieces, which was we did a comparison of inexpensive remote control cars, where we just went to the internet and found RCs for under $40 and then did a series of rigorous tests, including a drag race, a slalom course, a sumo type event where we were trying to just ram each other out of a coned off area.
Okay.
So I think within what we tested, we didn't have a WRX model, but I know that WRX RCs exist, and that
RC
is
stuff.
like,
That's a good thought.
RC stuff is always my number one thought for like, especially like kids who are into cars, because that's what I wanted growing up, was like a remote control car.
Right.
Growing up. So I know like when I was a kid, like the X mods from Radio Shack, they had a WRX in a couple different flavors. They had a blue one, they had a white one, they had a there was like a racing livery one. So I'm sure there's got to be an RC WRX out there.
Yeah, interesting.
That's basically
'Cause
where
then they
my
get to
mind
drive
went
it.
to.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No, that's cool. It's hard. I mean, these are 17-year-old kids.
Oh, 17. That
Yeah,
changes
yeah.
things.
Yeah. Like this is his car.
I said vape pen.
Vape
but,
pen.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna get a vape pen.
blowing some fat clouds. It's definitely a WRX thing.
Maybe a head gasket of some sort.
Yeah. Ooh, head gasket kit.
funny.
Maybe
The gasket kit.
maybe
yeah.
some new piston rings.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, John's
those would be
turned.
good
Yeah, well,
WRX
since
gifts.
John drives one, he turned me on to a couple aftermarket things that are very tasteful.
Ooh, Cobb access port.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure if he already has one. He wouldn't come out, right out and tell me if he does.
Yeah.
I don't know that he does.
Bring
does
it
he have
down
a
here. I'll
WRX
drive it. I'll
already?
tell you.
Right.
He has a WRX already.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
And it's a
access port
manual,
would be
right?
solid,
So
yeah.
like a weighted short shift.
I was gonna say some kind of shift knob. Yeah.
Shift knobs are always nice. I think like other. Oh gosh, I mean tools. I don't know how many tools he has. If he likes to wrench on it
He
himself.
does work on stuff, which I found out, by the way. This is like a public safety announcement, I guess. Yeah, so supposedly he's jacking the car up and then climbing underneath it without using jack stands. Like it's just the jack by itself.
Dude,
Like, buddy.
Get jack stands.
Yeah. I mean,
What about just cinder blocks?
I've done that.
All right. Well,
Not-
I guess
not my
moving
preference.
on.
just or
Never
the
mind.
appropriate tool, for
Yeah.
the job.
Okay.
So,
Fine.
I like being not crushed when I get under the
Yeah,
car.
no doubt. It's kind of crazy. That stuff really happens, people.
No, it's
I mean,
true. Yeah.
Yeah, be safe. Use jack stands.
But yeah, so that's probably that really is, and heavy gifts always feel cool.
Oh yeah. Yep. Like the bigger the box, the better too.
Right?
Jack stands would be the king of that one. Yeah.
Yep. Our internet is crap, right?
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
rough.
Right
Are you
now.
getting
It's all
Are you
right.
getting flashes of we don't have enough internet to stream?
No. But I'm
We
just
found it.
watching
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I got to it.
So I'm going to put this over because we were just talking about it. But this
Yeah.
is the RC article.
Yep. So in the lineup that we're looking at, it was pretty heavily dominated by drift cars. But in there, we also had a flying vehicle of sorts that Brendan brought out. I brought a 70 series Land Cruiser, being the Land Cruiser nerd that I am. But yeah, it was really fun. We just kind of hung out and did this very rigorous scientific testing to empirically decide which remote control car from AliExpress or eBay or Amazon was the best. There were some mechanical failures. Jake in particular really wrecked his RX-7. He wrecked it pretty good.
Is that photo?
One of them, yeah. He had a gearbox failure as a result of too much thrashing, but I think it was a lot of fun, and we're definitely going to be doing something similar in the future with either a higher budget or look into like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and be like, what can you get?
Sure.
It's hobby grade. Because one of the big blinking disclaimers that I put at the front of this article is like, if you're serious about getting an RC as like a hobby, like go to a hobby shop, talk to a real person, find the RC that's right for you, because like there's rock crawlers, there's touring cars, there's like all manner of different remote control cars. And like when you get into that really nice hobby grade stuff, it's so fun.
Yeah, we've
Highly
got
recommend.
the guy that runs the company that does a lot of our clear masking is big into the racing scene, and they just opened a new track down here, I think 5 or 6 months ago, and it's like making things happen. He's podiumed a couple times, but now he's in a bigger class, so he's having trouble. His son just podiumed in like some off-road racing thing, and he bought this like F1 car, RC car, and he's gonna have $1,500 in it or something like that to get it, ready. And that doesn't include spares or getting competitive. That's like getting it so you can try it.
Minimum.
When I raced nitro buggies, the fuel for those little nitromethane engines was like $33 a gallon.
Sure.
And the engine life was measured in gallons. So you put like 10 gallons through your engine, it's done. You have to start over again, like re-sleeve it, put a new piston in, and off you go. But like, it's a cool hobby. Like this is what I was way passionate about when I was younger.
I've always wanted to build one of those like mini V8s or V12s or something like that. And then I look them up, and it's like $15,000 for the cheap Chinese knockoff, and I can't afford that.
Lots of little pieces and precision machining.
It's pretty awesome.
It's cool stuff. I geek on it pretty hard.
All right. What else do you guys want to talk about?
I mean,
which way do you want me to go?
Shifting to low.
Yeah, let's talk about shifting to low. That was something that myself and Marty and Jake got into. But the gist of it was I wanted to get together a overlanding trip for the shift crew. And so it wound up just being a little small get together of the three of us, 2 Toyotas, 1 Chevy. And we went and drove around, and there were some mechanical opportunities for improvement on Jake's side. His 4Runner had been sitting for, what did he say, 2 years? Something like that.
I don't recall the exact time frame.
This was a 4Runner that was not driven frequently, and so what happened was when he hit the washboard roads, it shook up all the floaties in the gas tank and clogged his fuel filter. And so the bulk of the story is mostly like we drove around in the middle of nowhere, and then Jake broke down, and then we went to the parts store, and then got a new fuel filter, and then it puked even more gas after putting the new fuel filter in. It was a whole thing. But
that added to the story of it. Like that added to the challenge of it. And it made it just like super memorable in my mind. Like towards the end of the year, it's easy to look back at the year and be like, what was my favorite thing? For me, I think it was shifting below. Like that was seriously such a good time.
Cool, yeah.
It was a very memorable camping trip for sure. I mean, like we heard the first night when we were out on Rampart Range, like there were like elk bugling all around us because we're like in peak rut season, and like we were shining our flashlights around, and we were like catching their eyeballs in the dark.
Wow.
So they were like real close to camp, and yeah, the first night in camp was really nice. We just sat around the campfire and talked about cars. And the second night was if we flip to the next page, I think we'll see. Keep going, one more. Yeah, so the photo, like the flash photo of like Marty with his arms extended, being super happy. Like we got snowed on.
Yep.
In typical early fall fashion, which we're semi prepared for.
Rampart's up at what, like 8,000-9,000 feet probably?
Yeah, because that climbs up from the springs.
Yeah.
And then where we were was outside of Buena Vista.
Okay.
So we're not as remote as I was trying to get us. I had a whole really long overland route planned for us, and we only got maybe a quarter or a third into it because of, I'm not trying to point fingers, but I mean, like, Jake's 4Runner added opportunities to have more adventure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts on it?
Yeah. So I mean, one thing that Jake said is that he was like, "I'm going for more character over like functionality," which I really appreciate. Like, I'm big time into that. But yeah, I mean, it was just so cool to have these, 3 older rigs. I don't think we saw an older car on the trail, which was
really
kind of
see
cool.
anyone else on the trail.
We saw some at Rampart.
When we were going through Rampart, we saw
Yeah.
like some newer stuff. But when we hit the other big road that I had us going down was called Countryside Tour, which is like just easy gravel road through the middle of nowhere, and it's very scenic. But we had that to ourselves, which I think is just like something I've noticed overall is like for as many people as I see on the like local 4x4 groups on Facebook, like I never see that many people actually out on the trail.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's fair.
hey, more trail for us.
Yeah, I'd say a couple other notes. One, Chris's breakfast burritos were absolutely insane the first night. Not
Thank
the
you.
First night. God.
First morning.
First morning.
Could they have used some Casa Bella hot sauce?
I mean, it coulda.
Couldn't have hurt.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I went a little light on the spice with them, but I do
Oh,
like
so
making a
great.
good breakfast burrito.
And then the night when the snow was happening, I was supposed to cook like a fried egg burger, and
Royale with cheese.
yep, supposed to do that, but snow started coming in, and I catapulted my eggs. And my truck smelled like eggs. So.
Oh no! Oh no!
Excellent.
And it was like it was snowing in the pan, so again we can kind of see in that snowy photo. I have a roommate who borrowed my awning type thing, so I did not have that. All I had was a tarp and some rope, and I wasn't planning on it snowing, so I made a very sad little shelter
Sure.
in which we were able to cook and not much else. 10 out of 10. We'll do
That
it
looks
again.
like a lot of fun.
Yeah, adventure.
Oh, it's a blast. Like if you can get out and just drive around in the middle of nowhere on some dirt roads, it's always a good time.
Yeah,
Or if you had the Porsche rooftop tent.
there you go.
There's a Porsche rooftop
The
tent.
Dakar.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I've got a roof tent, but it's not a Porsche one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've heard people when they get in it, they say this is more comfortable than my bed at home.
It really does elevate the camping experience putting one of those big things on the roof. And,
What are those tents available on?
You can put them on Taycons. You can put them on 911s. You can put them on Cayennes, Macans, everything but Panameras, everything but Boxsters.
Boxster Cayman.
Boxster Cayman.
can't do
Interesting.
Porsche Cayman.
Yeah, my initial reaction was Dakar.
Yes,
but
yeah,
we did that.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Sweet.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, I think that was shifting to low. I mean, it was mostly just hanging out in the woods and Jake having fuel problems.
I really want to go do that in my car would be okay, but Lauren's Cayenne would be great. But we put 22s on it, and I just worry a little bit that I'd like do something and get a flat tire. And when Porsche went to the newest generation of Cayenne, they increased the rolling diameter of the tires, so the 22 gets more sidewall.
Yep.
So it doesn't scare me as much, but I don't know. Like look outside, it's like that.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's enough.
I think for Rampart it would be okay.
Yeah, like if you're running like gravel roads, you'd be
Yeah.
fine. I just wouldn't do any like hardcore rock
Yeah.
crawling with
Okay.
it.
Well, that's enough said there.
I mean, like that. I don't know if that's the.
Yeah,
Is that the Cayenne's forte? Are they good for rock crawling?
probably.
Probably depends on how much you
Yeah.
modify
Yeah.
them.
They do have like some legit off-road shops. I will give
Yeah.
them that. Like, they do
Especially
build
the
them
first gen. Those, things,
yeah.
those things were
Oh,
nuts.
those
but,
are sweet.
yeah.
I thought it was cool that on those first gens you could get the factory spare tire swing out on them. When we were at, which maybe we transitioned into one of your stories, when we were at the junkyard, we saw a Cayenne that had the swing out on it still. Like someone took it, but the mounts were still there. But
Should go
Yeah, we
pick
could-
that up.
We could talk about shift into junk a little bit.
Yeah.
Shift goes to the junkyard.
yeah,
So that same Silverado that I was driving for the shift into low, it's my grandpa's, and I inherited it. I've been driving it for like the last decade, but recently inherited it because he passed. But he was a park ranger, really really cool. But yeah, I inherited it. Got to do a lot of just random adventures with it, and it did get hit somewhat recently. and we went to the junkyard to go and pick up a fender and a mirror for it. And luckily we did, and we found a bunch of treasures along the way, including that Porsche, and then
all sorts of other things too.
There's like a Caprice wagon there, like old school.
There's
Dodge Magnum,
Isuzu Rodeo that was pretty sweet. That blue one.
Oh yeah.
And then just all the treasure you find in junkyard cars is just something to revel in. Old family photos, cans of cat food, spoons that might have been used for questionable reasons.
Sure. When I was going to tech school in Arizona, that used to be one of the things that you'd go do.
Yeah.
Right.
Junkyard car.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Because at least at that point of time, you didn't pay your way to go in. Like now, I think that's common, right? You have to.
It's like a couple bucks.
Yeah.
It's like 2 or 3. Like I
Right.
think it's just enough to like pay for like the liability of you being there.
Sure. But yeah, super fascinating to
love
walk
the
through and just
junkyard.
to see. And then let your imagination run wild, because you see some of these crazy cars that have been wrecked or whatever, thinking, oh my God, what happened here? Right. Just, it's unbelievable, like you say, but the bizarre finds, you know, that you get there. So
Definitely.
This didn't happen on our junkyard trip, but I think my most memorable junkyard find was a Volvo that looked like it had been wrapped around a pole that had a breathalyzer wired into the dashboard.
Oh, wow.
There was a Margaritaville visor laying on the floorboard next to like some empty bullet casings, and a book on, and I have the book in my car because I thought it was too funny to not keep, but it's like 7 steps to staying out of prison or something like that.
God.
It's
All in one car. Yeah. Cool. Wow.
That Volvo lived a life.
Yeah,
That's
right.
a big find. That's a lot of find. I
In
like
a
that.
Volvo.
Yeah. Of all cars. But, so I mean that was shifting to junk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was also pushed for issue 11. So consider that
right.
a teaser for issue 11.
I had a total brain fart there.
All right.
I forgot. Yeah, because that was one of the things that happened with this issue is we actually made too much
That's pretty amazing.
content.
Yeah.
We had a couple articles that we're gonna put into issue 11, and that's one of them. That I am so sorry. I forgot. To
No, it's
repush that
okay. No
one.
worries at all.
That's my bad.
It was still a good thing to talk about. So
It was because that was something that we did.
This
in
is first
timeline.
dibs.
Yeah.
This is old news.
Yeah.
It's been out for a week.
Yeah, it's been out now.
we don't really care about any of this.
But I think of some of the other big pieces we touched on: shift into junk, shift into load, did the RC piece. Need to make sure that we leave some stuff for Jake and Brendan to talk about.
I got one more that I want to bring up.
Yeah, totally.
So we had Mimi's MGB, and that's just like a old school red MGB. I ran into, they call him Peanut Butter Paul, and ran into him at a brewery randomly, and he was talking about he owns like a newer Bronco.
So wait a minute. Does he make peanut butter?
No.
Then I don't
I'll
want
get
to
to
know
that in a
anymore. I
second.
don't want to know anymore. That's enough.
I don't know. Maybe I can convince him.
Nope. Nope.
No, he drinks a peanut butter brown ale at this point.
Okay.
So that's how he's got the name. But yeah. But
It's your dog.
MGBs, huh?
yes.
Those are cool.
But yeah, he brought his dog Guinness with him. I think that's the first time that we've had a dog on the photo shoot. So that was really fun.
Really? That's pretty surprising.
Had Ace at shift into low though. We had
Oh,
Jake's
true.
dog.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
we did
wonder
have
if
Ace.
alcohol plays any part of this person's life. Wow.
That's a good looking dog.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Guinness is a good name.
That's a great
Yeah.
name.
But yeah, that one was just fun. Just classic old British car. And yeah.
From the car itself, did everything work?
No. Did anything?
That's right.
Did anything work?
Let me rephrase that question.
We have rollers of it, so it runs.
Yeah. I don't think I saw any
know-
issues with it.
You know what's kind of crazy? A roller works just as well if the car is parked and you just drive by it.
Oh, totally.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Think about it. Give it a shot. Yep. I know you did. I see it right there.
We've joked about it.
Yeah.
You know, let's try that sometime.
There you go.
Let's do it on one.
Try
of
it
the
again
shoots. We'll see what happens.
I've always loved MGs. I think
they're
they,
so
they
cool.
just seem like a very approachable, affordable thing.
Yep.
And anything that kind of gives birth to Miata
Exactly.
is
You read my mind.
is pretty special.
Yep.
Yeah, like Miata precursor cars are just.
And from what I understand, you do have to be kind of handy, but not like super handy.
That's the part that I've always been curious about with these cars. You know, it's like people say that it's a Miata, but easier to work on. I'm like, is that possible? But it seems like it is.
Well, I would, with probably like fewer emissions
Yeah.
systems and like complication of newer
Yeah.
cars, I could see that being easier to work on.
Yeah, carbs are harder for us because I don't understand them.
Oh yeah, that's a whole
It's not
magic
like
on its own.
it's not
Yeah.
tuning like a fuel injection curve on whatever it is. You know,
Yep.
that's
It's just-
those numbers I make sense, but like
Yeah.
you have to take out 3 flats on number 6's
Yeah, you got to
Weber choke.
Right. Yeah.
I don't. What are you talking about? What's
Reject
what's a
the-
Weber choke? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, one of my favorite things on this car is it's got like an orange warning sticker where it's like, I can't remember if it was something about the roof. We have a photo of
Is
it.
that little guy? Looks like maybe.
I think there's a closer photo of it if I'm not mistaken.
Excuse me.
maybe
It said
not.
something like, be careful of the roof if you exceed 146 or something like that.
That car will do 146
That's the
Yeah.
thing that was funny.
kilometers.
miles or kilometers. Yeah, that was
Downhill
funny.
clutch in.
Right.
But yeah, no, it is that orange sticker that you zoomed in on. But yeah, just a riot of a time. So
Did you guys get to drive it?
nope, didn't get to drive it.
I think that should be step 1
Mandatory.
in anything that shows up. If you just have to say, all right, we're just for safety, we're gonna have to take this around the block real quick. We'll be back. We'll be
Yeah.
right back.
Just make sure. Yeah, make sure it's a
Yeah.
photo.
Just sign here.
Or
I
something
like the way you think.
It should be a rule.
I think I like that, especially if we ever link up with that guy who's got the Ferrari that we were gonna take pictures of. If he ever
Yeah.
finds his keys.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, there you go.
'Cause that was a piece that we didn't run in this issue because we got a whole photo shoot put together. We got our roller crew out, and then the morning of, the owner of this Ferrari's like, I don't know where my keys are. And then he had to go out and get new ones.
It'll slow you down.
A little bit. But yeah, I mean, and just scrolling through, we had 2 press cars this time around, which was pretty sweet. Toyota was kind enough to let us have the keys to a Prius XLE, which was honestly, I think it's a gorgeous Prius.
How
Yeah, what it
amazing
is.
is it that car looks good?
It's amazing.
The Prius has come a long way, and
Yeah.
I'm very proud of it.
I think so. I think
Like it, I tell people, like, if you just want a car, Prius.
yeah, I can
And
see that.
I think this current one, it just like it looks really good. I didn't get a chance to drive it, but I did ride around it a little bit, and like it's just a delight.
It reminds me of Lotus Esprit because the way the hood and the windshield are just one continuous line. There's
see it.
there's no like
Yeah, I can see that.
break to that. It's just this totally foreign thing for a concept, or not a concept, but for like an economy car.
Yeah.
It looks sharp. So good job, Toyota.
Real sharp car.
Yep.
But yeah, so we had some fun with rollers on that one. The cover photo that we're looking at right now, I was doing my light painting, and Brendan was kind enough to drive directly into my shot as I was doing that, and loud words were had. But I did get the photo, so
Yeah.
all's well that ends well.
That's pretty cool. Did he drive this into it, or did he drive something else into it?
He drove his Kia.
Got it. That the back here, or where did he drive it? I don't.
Oh, it was in a different shot.
Okay, got it.
I didn't use the one that he drove into, but that I don't know. Like I feel like sometimes I turn invisible when I have a camera in my hands.
Yeah. Makes sense.
You should get a siren.
A siren.
Yeah. And when you're taking a shot, just turn on your siren.
Yeah.
So everyone look and like a
actually-
little spinny light, and then just and then turn it off.
I've thought about dune buggy flags, but now
Yeah.
I'm realizing what I think I need. Have you seen on Instagram? They're making like power drills, but they take the power drill guts out and they put on train horns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
would
like
work.
I think that's what I need, like on top of my camera. So if anyone walks into my shot, I just blast them with. The
You
train
got
horn.
to turn it on when you're going to take the shot.
That's true.
So everyone knows, and then they look at you and they're like,
Yeah, it's like a flood warning essentially. Yeah.
Maybe like give it like 3 sharp blasts before I take
you could
the shot.
build a little mini V12 for it. A mini V12 powered train horn.
It's gonna be pricey, brother.
It's gonna be one heck of a
good
train
for it.
horn.
He's good for it.
But yeah, I was the primary on the Toyota Prius, and it's like with Toyota, it's in the Prius. It's been around since '97, and they started hitting the States in the early 2000s. And it's like, if a car has been around that long and people know it as well as they do, and it sells as well as it does, they're doing something right. And they just kicked it up to 11 with this one. So,
Well, Clarkson said what the quote was, nice Prius, no one. Like no one has ever said nice Prius. But this generation, I think that is flipped
Yeah.
for a lot of us
To
car people.
this one, I say nice Prius.
Yes.
Ironically.
Yep. Well, there you go.
Right on. Yeah, I think other stuff that we want to cover. I don't want to cut into like Jake or Brendan's talking points.
final thing is just maybe some of your thoughts on being lead editor for this issue.
I was editor in chief, wasn't I?
Nice.
Yeah, I was really stressed out about it. I'm not gonna lie. I felt a lot of pressure to put out, like another good issue that was like consistent with shift standards, and I think it all came together beautifully. Like I have to thank everyone on the team for like doing such an awesome job with helping putting it together. Our photographers, our writers, our editors, our designers, our jacks of all trade who are doing all of those things. It just came together awesome in the last week or two of assembling the magazine. Like everything just kind of fell into place. Like I think in the past we've had some issues where we're just like cutting it a little close on getting stuff ready and buttoned up, but this time around I think it went really smoothly, and I can't take full credit for that. That was definitely a whole team effort in making that happen.
Well, thanks for putting it all together and
for
for
sure.
running some stuff that we wrote.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty awesome.
We should we talk about your piece?
No, he has to do that.
He has to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Okay.
You can praise us later off air.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Praises will be sung.
Yeah. Do you guys want another Malort? I know you said you did.
I will have another because that's what
Yeah.
the saying is.
All right.
And FPB Brandon 1
Yeah.
is calling Marty out.
Who's that?
That's here's my Malort cup.
Oh boy.
Malort me up. Oh, that was an aggressive amount of Malort.
Excuse me.
Good old Chicago swamp water.
Thank you. Chicago swamp water.
All right.
Congrats,
Jepson's Malort. I'll have another.
Jepson's Malort.
You got to drink it, then you say have another. You've been out of Chicago too long.
Honestly, I got in Malort before they were saying I'll have another.
I'll have another.
Okay, well, the bottle's back here. Let those guys get into it first.
Right on.
And then I don't know. We'll finish it.
Sounds good.
And I'll sit here.
John will finish it. Yeah.
I'll be here. I shaved today. No, I didn't. I need to shave. Somebody bring me a razor and then I can stay here. But thanks, guys. We'll see you hopefully before 3 months is up.
Yep. Sounds good.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having
Thank
us
you
on.
much.
Tag in. All right. Oh, what do you think now, huh? Go get the other. Can you guys go get the other guys?
Yeah.
I mean, you
Maybe.
can stay on.
They can hear us. They know it's time.
I don't know.
Do they? I don't think they do. I think they're
They're
sipping on
moving around
yak.
back there.
Are they? Oh,
They're giggling.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
So, stuff that's coming up for the dealership.
Christmas party.
We got that tomorrow. So anybody that's around and available, stop by the store at 6:30.
No, 5:30.
No, not 5:30.
5:30. Ted got to leave early last time. You get to leave early this time.
Oh,
Right.
I hear you.
So
I don't know. That's
I
kind
don't
of messed
either.
up.
I know. We'll just close the doors. We'll shut her down.
Yeah. No appointments at 5:50 p.m. Certain people here.
It just talks about how the customer service oriented thing
Oh, it's
is
fantastic.
just in us, and we can't tell people to go away.
Joe and I got Christmas ornaments from some clients that came all the way down from Denver just to hand deliver them.
That's pretty amazing.
That's super amazing.
That's pretty special.
And their son worked up courage to get on the tractor.
That
He's been afraid of the tractor, the Porsche tractor that's here
for
in
the past
showroom.
few years.
Yeah, for a while. But he finally had enough confidence to get up there. So they brought him down, put him on the tractor, get his photo, and then they hand delivered some ornaments.
All right,
So,
I got to make a couple malorts here.
thank you, Tillers, for coming down to do that. That's super generous of you. We appreciate that very much.
What?
Yeah, keep going, man. Everybody's watching.
Well, I got to put my shit down.
All right, so I'm gonna. So while John's doing this, all right. So we've got 2 new guests here. All right, can you introduce yourselves?
I can.
Yeah, I'm Jake from Shift Colorado Magazine, associate editor.
Did you know you turned yourself off?
I'm Brendan from Shift Colorado Magazine. I've been here a time or two.
Yeah, for sure.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, that's right.
Welcome
Good to see
back,
you guys. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you for dinner this evening, Brendan. I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I got to try out my day 1 of hot sauce.
How was it? How did it
It
go?
was really good. I
Yeah.
just poured it on.
That's a good
just,
one. I recommend
it's
it.
Go big or go home, right? None of this little teasing taster BS. It's like just eat it.
Jepson's Malort.
Jepson's Malort. Where did I put it?
That's disgusting.
Well,
I'll have another.
Can I have a first one?
that's not what you're
Did I
supposed
drink yours?
I think
I drank yours,
I think I did.
I think John drank Brendan's. Yeah.
It's like an extra bitter absinthe.
John's wife may have to come get him
Yeah.
because I'm not giving him a ride home.
The good thing about this is it's 70 proof, not like 80, 90, 100, or 126 like a lot of what we
It's
usually
made out
drink.
of some alcohol.
Good. Yeah.
tastes
It's like
like, I
it's
imagine.
a slightly strong beer.
Tastes like I imagine nail polish remover to taste like.
Jepson's Malort. I'll have another.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Wow.
All right. Yeah.
Well, since we were...
Couple of pros I'm in company with.
it's like eating the skin of a grapefruit.
That's fairly
It gets you in
accurate.
the end.
Yeah.
Since we were talking about the Christmas
Mm-hmm.
spirit, we actually brought you guys a mutual Christmas present. So, my wrapping paper job of my hoodie here, I'm going to just... Oh. This is good television.
This is really good.
What do you think this is?
I think it's...
It's a calendar. I have no idea.
It's a calendar.
Yes.
Oh!
Look at that.
It's a
Yes.
very special
It's a
calendar.
very special calendar.
That's
This
a
is
really good one.
the 2025 Colorado Cars and Coffee
I hope
Oops
so.
All Steve edition
That's amazing.
of the calendar.
really
We only got
suck
one
if-
for the both of you, so you have to share.
No,
Gave us
that's
last
wonderful.
year's calendar. On this day of
Yeah,
2024.
those are pretty special.
Every picture is a picture of Steve making a weird face.
That's awesome.
And this is available if you Google some words on Zazzle, I think.
Okay, so I think what you need to do is just add like the like those fireman calendars are, and where like it's Steve making a weird face, but then there's like Brendan in his boxers.
I'm in.
So that's next year.
I mean, notice the skill of the photography there. There's a
that's really good. Is that a selfie? Or
there's
who
a
took that
Vantage
picture?
over on the side, and we took a picture of Steve
Yeah,
instead.
yeah, no, it's amazing. Who took the picture?
Steve. That's a selfie.
That's a selfie?
Steve's not liking it.
That's funny. That is funny.
And
Please.
Can I open
Steve
this?
doesn't know this part either, but for every copy we sell on Zazzle, Steve's going to donate $1 to a charity of his choice.
Well, that's cool.
You just have to find
Can
it.
I open it?
Yeah, open it.
You sure? Okay.
He gave it to you.
Well, I know, but I didn't.
It's a
know-
gift,
Am
Todd.
I ruining its value?
You can't open it till Christmas.
That's another question.
It's unspeakable. It's value of
I meant to say
unspeakable value.
unspeakable value. I meant to work that in.
It's a gift of unspeakable value.
Did you guys add all of your birthdays and anniversaries to this calendar? So they're already
That's an idea for
pre-populated?
next year. Steve, when you stop being embarrassed, write that down.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
That starts now.
This is pretty awesome.
Yeah, super cool.
But yeah, that's one thing we wanted to get out there. We also wanted to congratulate Marty on talking about content from issue 11.
Yes. That's
We
awesome.
really enjoyed watching you try to find it.
That's like that's like quality paper photos.
No, this is a nice calendar.
There's all glossy photos and everything.
We got a print copy of Steve's calendar before we got a print copy of Shift Colorado magazine.
I don't know whose fault that is.
Probably the guy that never signed the paper like me.
I signed mine. I got mine turned
Did you
in.
sign for me?
Sure.
All right, good job.
All 4 years later.
Yeah. Hey, I know that guy.
Well, that's cool,
He sits
John. No
oddly
one can see what you're looking at. That's
They're not
rad.
supposed to. You guys are talking. He's sitting oddly close to the steering wheel.
I like how much activity this is stirring up.
We got a lot of viewership.
Yeah.
Steve saying he couldn't even get
Well, why-
Colorado
why-
Cars and Coffee's real calendar past Zazzle, but this flew.
I have
This
that.
is the
I have
one.
that shirt. That's all pretty amazing.
So
pretty cool.
we hope you guys get a real kick out of splitting this for a year to
will.
come.
Yeah. You can look at it too now.
Oh, cool.
But
No,
yeah,
no one can see what I'm looking at.
Yeah. All right. Put up their magazine so we can talk
All right,
about
here
that.
we go.
Nobody cares about what we're looking
Boom.
riveting television.
Yes.
at. It's even better radio.
That's
It's
true.
Much better radio.
Yeah.
So Jake, how about this issue?
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun stuff in here. I've got one of my favorite pieces in here is took a road trip out to Road America with my Lemons team and blew up our Miata again.
Wow.
It's actually like this is a 1-year anniversary of me writing with Shift. I started with a Lemons article in issue 6, which would have been exactly 1 year prior to this.
We started because of a Lemons article.
I started because of a Lemons article.
Some of us
That's-
don't do our homework until the night before.
But yeah, so 2 of my best friends and I rebuilt our Miata, blew it up in June. It was a budget rebuild with really crappy parts. DNJ, stay away from it if you're looking for rebuild parts for a Miata. And so we blew it up in June, and we were supposed to race at Road America. We had kind of written it off. We were like, yeah, we'll just wait till next year. And then Ricky, who was extremely determined to make it happen, pushed us to do it, found a motor. We bought it, shipped it out from Florida, put it in the car, and drove all the way to Road America just to blow it up again, which was a great time. It was as much a travel story as it is a heartbreak story as it is a car story.
Did you drive the Miata or you drove a trailer with the Miata in it?
Oh, we towed the Miata
Okay.
out there.
All right. Well,
I wouldn't put that on the road.
Okay.
There are lives at stake.
Right.
But yeah, it was a good time. If you guys have never been to Road America, it is honestly the coolest racetrack I've ever spent time at. It's like it's as much a park and a tourist attraction as it is a racetrack.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
I've never been, but that was kind of the closest big track to me in Minneapolis.
Okay.
And I'm bummed I never went. There were a lot of like Volvo did some of their big what was it, VSA, Volvo Sports America, something like that, had their big races and meets out there, and I should have just gone, but never did. So
I'd like to go back as strictly a spectator for like an IMSA event because I mean there was a lot that I missed just because we were focused on making our crappy race car run. And I mean, even in the little bits that I did get to walk around the track and get photos and stuff, it's just a really pretty place.
So if you had to start over and not do a Miata, what would you buy for a Lemons race? Like Lemons is it how much money can you spend on your car?
It's subjective.
Okay.
It's supposed to be $500.
$500.
Yeah, it's supposed to be $500. Yep. Honestly, if I had
can you actually buy anything for $500 anymore?
Bottle of Malort.
Yeah, no, that was $34.95.
So honestly, if I were to do it again, like you really can't find $500 cars.
I don't
anymore.
think so. I try, I look, but I don't think you can unless it like walks up and says, "Hey man, I just stole this. You want to buy it for
Exactly, like-
$500?"
But if I were to do it again, I would get like Lemons always says they want to see more like mid 2000s fleet cars. So go find a retired rental 2004 Taurus, and you'll slip under the radar with Lemons. They don't like Miatas. They don't like if you were to show up with like a Porsche or anything because they think that you put too much money into it. They want you to take something that's the furthest from a race car as possible and make it into a race car. So we
Okay.
get penalized for having a Miata. We have to bribe the judges pretty heavily. It usually involves alcohol.
Does anybody run like a U-Haul?
No.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
There is a weight limit.
What's
Oh,
the
really?
weight, what's the weight limit?
I think it's kind of crazy. I think it's like 4,000 pounds.
That's
so you can
okay.
get
That's
away with
pretty
a
light.
lot.
Yeah. So how about like one of the mini school buses?
Short bus.
Yeah, get a short bus.
That brings me to our next segment. Downshift. Downshift is coming. It's the new podcast from our buddies Ryan and Jason at Shift. They will be starting here shortly on January 1st. They are spending the night together. They've rented a hotel room and some podcast and recording equipment. I think they're doing it live on video. Maybe
Doing
or maybe
what?
just live. A new podcast about downshifting. I think they were trying to call it mist shifts.
Mischief.
Misshifts. Like mischief.
Yep.
Misshifts. But downshift felt better. So those guys have been on. They do the newsletter
Yeah.
for Colorado Cars and Coffee. So they're starting something new. So go listen to them. It comes out soon on January 1st.
I guess I'm lost as in the getting a hotel room and
Where
Your
else
parents will explain it to you when you get older.
Where else would you record a podcast other than your Porsche dealership or your garage? And if your garage is full of cars, I don't know.
Anyway,
outside anywhere.
Well, fine.
Anyway, move on. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of magazines to cover.
so you guys were in our magazine this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they say
we are-
nepotism doesn't get you anywhere.
Published. We're published.
You're published.
Yeah.
And both
Published.
of you for different things.
Writers. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Actually, Justin and John twice.
That's awesome.
I got double dipped.
There is a picture of you reaching over the seat of a Macan EV.
I got the reach around.
You got the reach around.
You gave the reach around.
That's okay. My camera
what
turns
else?
Justin
What's the
into a
difference?
ghost. Justin turns white every time I take a picture of him.
That's fairly true. But thank you guys for doing the work you do and like showcasing us in such a positive light.
Holy cow,
because to take the time to drive down from Denver to
let's
go on
start
a
there.
silly little drive with us.
I didn't take much time because I woke up late. So we
made
found out how fast a rental Macan goes.
We got you a burrito, we spilled a cup of coffee, and then you got to drive a car.
I got to drive a car.
Yeah.
Chris Coleman got to spend some time with me,
right.
face backwards in the car. Just shout out to Chris.
Yeah.
You're a champ.
Then you roped him into being a contributor, right?
Roped him into being a contributor. Well, we've been talking back and forth off and on. And
I know, but this
finally got a chance to talk it
Give
out.
me my credit.
This was his introduction back into
yeah,
Shift.
Yeah.
John Deisty got Chris Coleman onto Shift magazine. And Randy Waite. Shout out to Randy. Randy made that a
Randy's
really good
awesome.
day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, your guys' Classicer rally was a really good time with the unspeakable prizes.
They were good.
Yes.
They were good.
They were great prizes. No one wanted to claim them, but they were great.
Doesn't matter.
I have this very long series of photos from when we were at the lunch stop of you looking forlorn, trying to give a prize away for like 10 minutes straight. But that's not some of the really good photography. The good photography is in there. We did a whole show on getting to drive the Macan EV.
That 356 is right there.
That 356 is right there.
Yeah,
Jake and
there's
I were
one of
just
them.
saying that we recognize that from this article.
That's prominently featured, I would say. There's 1, 2,
Wait, the John
3, 4.
the John reaching picture didn't make it in there. I'm bummed.
That picture on the top left of page 2 is like my favorite picture from that article too.
Yeah. Those are some good 356ers.
And that white, that's a 912.
No, they're talking
Down
about
at the
your
bottom.
forehead.
But this was my first
There's
foray into
no
actually
ink on that page where your forehead's supposed to be. That's just full on paper reflection.
overexposure.
Looks good.
But yeah, I mean, that's probably because of me. This is my first time going out and trying to actually be my own photographer with like a real camera. And it went better than I would have hoped for.
I think you did a good
Came
job.
great. Yeah, it looks great.
And dealership has been kind enough to use some of my photos and your guys' stuff. So thank you.
Okay. Oh, hey,
Did we tag you and give you credit?
Sometimes.
Good enough.
All right.
We aim for
Yeah.
C plus.
C average.
But yeah, that was probably one of my favorite things I did this time around. I think a couple pages after this, we can hit one of my other ones real quick. It's my Bleeding Heart EV article that
Yes. Oh,
Justin
yeah.
was kind enough to wake up at the ass crack of a Sunday morning to come out and be a part of. I know you guys touched on it a little bit, but
It was a Saturday.
I think the concept.
Was it Saturday?
yeah,
it
'cause-
was Saturday.
yeah,
You had to go to work. Yeah.
This was part of the roll dozer.
This was part of the roll dozer.
I thought this was a really good concept for something because I can't stop looking at how you are just over the double yellows driving your car. You should.
When we go on roller shoots, I'm usually the one who's willing to fudge the rules to get the shot a little bit.
Okay, well, don't do that. But
The car wasn't enthused about it.
just Photoshop it back to the center.
Just Photoshop it back to the center.
I think you can do that.
You can't prove I was driving.
That's true.
That's not true. There's a picture where you can see Brendan cheesing really hard while he was zooming past the photography car.
But I think this is great because obviously, like one of our best friends, Ryan, huge car guy, all about it. You know, like just has devoted tons of time to the car community here in Colorado. Has his GT4, full on petrol head. Same story for you, right? You buy a bunch of stupid ass cars.
I'm a moron.
And you waste all your money on DeLoreans and Audis and
encourage
a bunch of
Jason.
shit, and then you buy the greatest car in the world, the 911, and you buy the wrong one, and it spends the first year of its life under your ownership in a shop that's not ours.
Keep going.
I
You're
get
on a
it.
roll.
And then you got Justin, who grew up changing the oil on mining equipment in Wyoming
In the snow.
in the snow with flip-flops on because that's how much of a man he is, and then went to UTI and graduated through the Porsche school and wrenched on Porsches and knows more about this stuff than I will ever, and has had 356s and SCs and all of that stuff in his garage. He hasn't ever owned them, but the SC he owned, but they've been in his garage. And we're talking about true gearheads and people that love cars. And there's a paradigm shift happening right now where everybody has, for the past maybe decade, been pushing a change to electrification. And is that good? Is that bad? How is it something that we, as people that like cars, do we embrace this? Should we embrace this? What's cool about it? Why do we like it? Why did we buy one? Why do we like them? Why do we sell them? And I think that's a really interesting article.
I think a lot of people see that discussion as something that comes with the narrative, and I thought it was interesting to address that by taking the narrative out of it and just having three car guys talk about their experience with the cars. I mean, Justin's gotten to be around for the launch of a couple and seen what the take rate is, what kind of people are buying them, what kind of people are using them, what kind of people are liking them. And Ryan and I are both kind of getting indoctrinated into what it takes to actually own and operate one of these things. You know, in the dealership, they'll tell you it's as convenient as gas. It's impressively convenient. It's nowhere near as convenient as gas if you don't have a home charger.
Sure. Oh, for sure.
My favorite,
I was shocked to read you didn't install one.
Brendan's garage has some electrical problems.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's some deferred maintenance on my garage, but I mean, public charging's fun. It's people watching.
It's
And
true.
most people are wandering around. My favorite analogy to make is going to a public charging station is like Omaha Beach scene of Saving Private Ryan. People are wandering around dazed like the guy looking for his arm on the ground. Like there's a married couple that stall over you having a fight about how to put the plug in.
Yes.
There's a kid on the phone with his dad like, Dad, I can't figure out how to charge the car.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Prom's in 20 minutes. It's amazing people watching.
Yeah, no, it's true. The couple times I've been to them, you've got like the guy with the Nissan Leaf that's got
All of them with the Nissan Leaf that charges at like 2 kilowatts a second.
Yes,
And
right.
yeah, exactly, and is plugged in next to the dumpster and has his newspaper open with his glasses down, and he's just like, yeah, it takes about 3.5 hours to charge, but
$9 a month speaks a lot of volumes.
and it gives me some time away from my wife. Like, I love my wife. I don't want to spend 3 hours away from her charging my car, but the Nissan Leaf guys do.
Nissan.
yeah. Uh-huh.
It gives me time away from my wife.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And then
That should be their next marketing slogan. is saving marriages.
We're trademarking that.
yes,
Right?
do it.
Patent pending.
If we don't win the Mega Millions tonight, then maybe we can get some money from when Nissan figures out that slogan that we've already patented. And then you've got the people with like the car they just bought and they're charging it for the first time and they're like, they said it charges 270. It's only doing 100. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. It's not working. I got to call my sales guy.
Right.
What's going on here? And then you got the people that are like just kind of sitting in their car and chill. And then you got the dude in like the diesel pickup that's just stalking the lot. And, then like parks behind you and goes into Walmart. And says, there's my spot.
Just looking for a reason to cut the cord on your car.
Right,
exactly. But no, you're absolutely right. It's a different experience than just filling with gas.
It's an interesting time to write about this because for an enthusiast magazine, we've gone an interesting direction with, a Prius as our press car, EVs. Chris went to a fashion show. But I still really enjoyed this one. But I know that Jake's got another one he wants to chat about.
Which one is that?
Be
The Hornet?
Uh-huh.
The Dodge Hornet. So we did have one full internal combustion press car for this issue as well. It's the first issue we've done 2 press cars. And this is our intro to a new manufacturer, too. So we were working with Stellantis for the first time.
Best foot forward.
Okay. Right.
They got me and Jake.
That should be a long-lasting relationship. That was a dig at Stellantis, not these guys.
No, I get it.
Yeah, so the Dodge Hornet is an interesting car. It's a Alfa Romeo Tonale in t-shirt and jeans.
All right.
Okay, okay.
There you go.
So it's pretty much a platform variant of the Alfa Romeo Tonale, but it's the only version of that car that gets a full internal combustion. So the Tonale base model starts out as a plug-in hybrid, whereas the Hornet, the top package, whatever it is, I think the RT.
GT Plus all-wheel drive.
So ours was a full internal combustion.
Okay.
Well, how about the entire name? Have you said the entire name out loud yet?
I don't remember the entire name.
That's going to be the Dodge Hornet GT Plus all-wheel drive track pack and blacktop edition.
That's right.
Brought to
Maroni
you by
price
Gran Turismo.
$45,365.
Wow.
45,365.
Wow.
$45,365 as tested.
That's pretty good.
Wow.
And it's a compact crossover SUV. Brendan will call it a truck. I had to edit his entire thing to remove truck.
Don't
from
get
it,
him
like,
started.
30
He will talk
times.
about this all night.
If it was French, would it be Hornet?
Well, I know it's not getting you laid, so. Anyway. That's a good
Personally, I think it's a better looking car than the Tonale.
It looks like a Mitsubishi to me. Like it's got squinty eyes and like hood scoops and a red logo.
I can see a little bit of like last gasp Mitsubishi in there.
So that's what Stellantis needs to do. Pick up Mitsubishi on cheap. And then call this the Mitsubishi 3000 GT.
Just since we're on the topic of
GTX.
Mitsubishi, have you guys been to the Denver Auto Show in the last 10 years and seen that Denver Mitsubishi keeps bringing the same Evo 10 for the last 10 years?
Is it white?
Yeah,
Yeah.
A car that they don't make anymore.
Yeah.
for 10 years.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember the last time I went to the
Do they
Denver
still
Auto
not put the shift knob on it?
they don't. No, you might take that.
Show. Yeah, right.
I might.
But yeah, we enjoyed the Hornet, and we enjoyed getting to drive something different from the Toyotas that are the only people who trust us with a car. So
Those are cool cars, man.
We trust you.
They got you some cool stuff.
The Porsche Colorado.
you trusted Ryan Barkey 25 miles of gas worth
That's
Yeah.
right. In a car.
in a Dakar.
Whoa.
I mean, I wouldn't trust him that far either, but yeah, I mean, Jake, you give it a Jake score. How was the cup holder?
Cup holder was solid, honestly. The cup holder in the Hornet was better than the cup holder in the Prius. Probably the only plus that the Hornet has over the Prius, in my opinion.
That's something that I did learn on the stuff that I got to do with you guys was that you're the cup holder guy, and Marty is the armrest guy.
Queen of armrest. I don't even know where that came from.
I
That was
totally-
just a mad moment of Marty being Marty.
It was great for
I
him
loved it.
describing that though, because I completely aligned with him. Right, getting in and out of so many cars, right, for the last 20, 4 years or whatever, you notice things like that. And there are cars that armrests don't line up.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You know, the console of the door, and yeah. Anyway, so I get it.
The cup holder thing was funny because, like, that was not intentional at all. We did a reel with, I think it was the Lexus TX, and it just happened to be the reel where I review the cup holder in that car, which is a really goofy cup holder. And it was the most viewed reel that we had on the Shift Instagram for, like, months.
We should have taken a video of Marty sleeping it off in the backseat of the TX.
Yeah, that was a fun
That was a good one. Anyways.
But yeah, since then I've become the cup holder guy, and it's become a staple in our press car review now. So I'm happy to say that the cup holder in the Dodge Hornet GT Plus all-wheel drive black top
Track pack and blacktop edition.
It's a good cup holder. It's rock
good cup
solid.
holder.
Holds my coffee mug pretty good.
I was the primary reviewer on it. I mean, it's a really nice interior for a Dodge. I feel like they've stepped up their game quite a bit. There's a lot of nice soft touch plastic.
I think the Italian influence really kind of helped them out there, because that interior is top-notch for Dodge.
It's a Z-VIN car. It's actually built in built in Italy. I used to know the name of the town, but not anymore. One thing I noticed about it, real small gas tank, 11-gallon gas tank.
Oh, wow. Really?
Because we thought we drove way too much on our photo day, and it turned out, no, just 11 gallons of gas.
I was like trying to calculate how many miles I drove that whole day, because I was like, there's no way that I drained the tank this quickly. And
That is
found out
wild.
it's 12 gallons.
Wow.
I think it's like stated capacity is 12.5, but like the light was on when I filled it up, and I only crammed like 11.2 into it. So
That's interesting. I wonder what is the smallest.
So
fuel
now,
tank?
what would be an interesting cannonball to me is take one of these versus a Macan and see who could get across the country fastest.
What's
Macan
the
stopping to charge. The Macan EV.
Okay. What's
So-
the range on the Macan EV?
Over 300.
Yeah,
I don't think you're getting that out of the tank on this thing.
exactly. So you're
Right.
going to have to stop more on this.
Yep.
I will say this versus the Tinder Tiguan in a drag race. This is going to walk it.
Really?
Compared to the base Macan that I was in, the
Sure.
Papaya Punishment.
Yeah. Interesting. That's pretty interesting.
Or the Dolomite Despair, take your pick. But this
It is
was
a
faster than the base Macan.
It's surprisingly quick for
It is
what
shockingly quick, and it's got rally car acceleration. It's got turbo lag.
Nice. Wow.
That's fun.
Wow.
It's fun.
Maybe our dirtfish friends could swap this in once they can't get any more VA WRX STIs.
That's a really great segue to, I think, the second to last story I want to talk about.
Whew, look at me. Look at me milking
way.
my own teat.
Yeah. You can milk anything with nipples.
We all learned that. Yeah. Yeah. I've got nipples, Greg. Can you
Thanks,
milk
Robert
me?
De Niro.
What is our second to last story? The
It's
Dirtfish
me.
story?
It's John.
It's me. I'm a
John.
published person.
John's
now.
a published person.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Photos and all.
And John even put up with some of the slog of editing. He had to come back for rewrites. We had to get him in on a meeting.
Wow.
That's true. I did that.
You did that. 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
No complaints.
Yeah, I'm available.
But yeah, Dirtfish was nice enough to play with us too. John made some influential friends out of Dirtfish.
Nice.
And they were nice enough to let us use their logo on
Right.
the track. But what's your favorite thing you learned out there? Or what's one thing? What surprised you the most about it?
How it's like a super precise thing that you can't be precise with. It's like you have to nail it, but you can't. So don't even try.
What was it? It was
But you
lift,
have
turn,
to, but-
weight.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, we've talked about it on the show a little bit. This was for, call it $2,500. I don't know what their exact pricing is for a whole day of education in somebody else's car on this crazy slippery dirt surface. They include lunch.
In one of the best parts of the country.
Yeah. Oh, it's perfect. It's a 3-hour flight from Denver, a 40-minute drive from the airport. There's a cheap hotel that's very nice and clean. I even had one of the like accessible doorbells that the people next to me rang a couple times.
Awesome.
You know, where it, like flashes and rings really loud in your room. But it's super easy to get to, and you're wrecking someone else's car, and you learn a lot. So like when it snowed like crazy, I was having so much more fun understanding what I was trying to make my car do now. And like I actually didn't drift into a neighbor's car because I knew how to not do it.
That's a deep cut. I like it.
No, it was just great. So the whole experience was awesome. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to kind of try to write it down, because the only other story I've ever written, I took a creative writing course after I had dropped out of Cornell and gone back to the University of Minnesota for engineering. I had to take a liberal arts something credit.
Got to get those electives.
Yes, exactly. And so I took. I think it was in my like contemporary or modern literature course. They made us write something, and so I wrote a story about how I was 14 years old and seduced by a woman named Martha. Oh, what the hell was her last name?
They say we don't do After Dark anymore.
No, this is not After Dark. I kept it in my pants. This was pre.
Steve, to answer your question, yes, I think it is.
Steve asked if the Malort was kicking in. I'm just trying to add some color.
Hey, you're adding good color.
But yeah, so I don't think I've told this on the show before.
Not on the show.
But we we vacationed off on an island off the coast of North Carolina. Maybe I was 16 because I probably had just got my license, and my
John was a man child.
Yes,
you do have to kind of keep this in mind.
Yeah, so I had when I was 17, I was way hotter than I am now. I had like abs, and I was cut, and I had muscles. Now I've got a dad bod. And sorry,
happens.
Lauren. You should have dated 17-year-old me. But when I was 16-ish, my parents met an artist on the island. Her name was Martha something, and she had painted this beautiful sea turtle, and my parents bought it, and they were like, oh, why don't you come over to the house and we'll have dinner? And then everybody had dinner, and they all got wasted. And the only thing you could drive on the island was golf carts. So my dad says, John, give Martha a ride home. And I'm like, okay. So I drove Martha home, and she said, John, why don't you come in? I go, okay, whatever. And I don't know what I'm doing. And she's like, would you like a Corona? I'm like, I'm 14 years old, dude.
Well, no. Well, you were 16.
14 to 16. I don't know. I don't know if I really had my license. And she goes, hold on, I'm going to slip into something more comfortable. And she goes into her bedroom and comes out in this like purple silk nightie and tries to get me on the couch, at which point my like stranger danger lights go off, and I drove back home and didn't do anything about it. But that could have been my first experience as a man, and I would be a totally different person right now. But instead, so I wrote that story, and now I wrote this story. So this is my second.
And the difference I can see there is they made you write that. You offered to write this for us.
That was a deposition. That's what they called it. You're right. Deposition. Shoot. Anyway,
Spatch is into it.
that's probably enough about Dirtfish.
That's it. Dirtfish was a great time.
But honestly, no. Highly recommend. I learned a lot both times. Sometimes, if it's too easy, you just say no.
I really like the part on page 4 of your article. Then I hit a tree.
Yes, I did that for you.
It was a virtual tree.
That's what I thought. It was a good like big thing that would be like, oh my god.
And look, I
Is
used
he
it on a
okay?
page
Now I have
break.
to turn the page. Oh, he didn't really hit a tree. Well, never mind. I don't have to finish the article.
So explain the virtual tree, because I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
It's like an autocross where there's cones everywhere. And they said, on a real rally course, these cones would be trees or, edges of cliffs or rocks or whatever.
Fixed obstacles of
so
some
just
sort.
don't hit them.
People
because
taking photos.
you need to stay on the main, on the actual path. And it was super muddy. So you're driving on dirt. If it's a dry day, they water the course. They've got big, million-gallon trucks that come and piddle on the course. But here it was like natural. It was soup out there.
Yeah.
And as we drove, the course kind of became clean, and you could see where we had been and where you could get traction and where you couldn't. And the part about like needing to be precise, if you missed the turn by an inch, all the mud grabbed you and sucked you out into nothing, and you lost all the momentum and you had to start over. So you really had to stay on the fresh stuff. But yeah, they had the cones out there and saying, like, if this was a rally course, you're not, now we're going to get to practice and you're going to see these turns a bunch. If this is rally, you get to do this turn once. And that's it. So you have to really make sure you don't miss anything. And yeah, so the tree was a cone, and that's why they said that's why we start here and not actually in the trees, because you would have wrecked our car, asshole. No, get back out. But the instructors were great, from the guy in the classroom to the people in the cars. It was just a great experience. So anybody that wants to learn how to do it,
this was a trip you got to take for selling the most magazines, right? This was your space camp.
Yes, it was.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly right. So, and I think I won again. So I might. I might get to go to do it again.
Day 2.
Yeah.
Last story I want to shout out's at the beginning of the magazine. We ought to wrap this up, but shout out to Nate Hughes, who went to the Telluride Autumn Classic. Nate is a guy who joined us about a year and a half ago, I want to say, and we don't get to see Nate often. He lives in Grand Junction, or actually, I think Nate's properly in Montrose, but Nate was someone who went with us on that weird shoot where we got to go shoot a bunch of McLarens in a random garage in Telluride, and he made a good friend with a guy named Ray Cody. Ray is kind of a guy around town on the car scene. He has a big storage garage up in Telluride, and he hosts the Telluride Autumn Classic.
Does he own a Shelby Series 1?
He does own a Shelby Series 1.
I've met him. He was a very nice gentleman.
And he called up Nate this year and said, "Hey, how would you like to go to Tech? I can get you a camping spot." And Nate said, "Yeah, I think I have a day." And he said, "No, I mean, how would you like to go to all of it?" And they had some really cool stuff this year. I mean, from the front page there, that's Camilo Pardo's Ford GT. Camilo Pardo was the designer of the second Ford GT, so the first reimagining, I guess. And
I have some of his artwork.
Yeah, and he did like some live art there. He did some really cool stuff. And there was just like a whole crew of like notable Ford people. I think Ford was kind of their theme this year. And Nate really just kind of dug in, embedded, and hung out for the entire event, shooting photos, just experiencing it and putting it on the page.
This was a fun one to just even get in there. Like, it was funny because we were picking the order for how we were going to want to lay out features and what was going to be in this issue. And it was unanimous across all of us on the editorial staff. Like, this was going to be number one.
Wow.
The photography was top notch. The story was fantastic. There was just so much to it. Like, it was no doubt in any of our minds that this was going to be what you opened up to in issue 10.
I think the design's pretty good too.
It looks great. It looks really well done.
But yeah, I mean, just wanted to give that one a shout out because it's just wonderful story. It's a big read. I think it's 10 pages, but well worth it.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorites of 10, and it's one that I had nothing to do with, and it was cool to read it, cool to look at it. That cover photo is for a fall issue of a car magazine. I mean, could you do any better than that for a cover picture?
That's pretty wild.
Brandon Day did.
Brandon Day did.
Way to go, Brandon Day, for getting the cover.
That's pretty awesome.
Special. All right. Well, we've gone over.
Yep.
How'd we do that? Was it my stories? Sorry. When I hear John talk about yourself,
it's the Malort.
I get excited.
It's that story about Margaret in the Outer Banks.
Martha.
Yeah, that's all right. Close enough.
John's deposition.
All right.
Well, thanks for putting up with us for 10 times. Wow,
is that amazing?
It's amazing.
It's like we actually have friends now. That's pretty cool.
It's fun to have folks in kind of the automotive media side of things that we get to keep touching base with.
I think so. We have a new goal. We would like to be invited to the Porsche press launch for the Boxster Cayman EV platform.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assign that to you.
Okay.
So get us invited, and then we'll write an article about it for you.
Do you know people who work at Porsche that I can start emailing? I can be very annoying.
I'll do that.
I think this needs to be a joint effort.
Sounds good. I'll get you an email address.
Okay. You give me that, I'll take care of the rest.
For the First Dibs podcast, thank you to our friends from Shift. We've got Chris and Marty hanging out in the green room, Jake and Brendan That's Justin. And if you want to buy a car tomorrow, come early because we're all going to kick out at 5 o'clock and go to our company party.
Right.
Heck yeah.
The Malort will not be with us. That's going home with Chris.